All right, I think we're live. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. If anyone in the chat can hear me, just push 1. Okay, got a confirmation from the chat. Thank you for the confirmation. Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 490, Black Tech Talk. Please hit the like button as you come in, share the video if possible. Hit the notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, those posted on the community tab. Doc in the description beneath the video for you to follow along with. If you want to engage in the discussion, there'll be a link in the chat for you to click on. When you click on the link, make sure you raise your hand so that one of us can acknowledge you and advance you to the panel. Just as an FYI, as usual, we are offering mentorship to those trying to get into IT, offering IT coaching for those trying to transition from one IT role to another. If you're in the tri-state area and you're looking for IT contracts, Nagona 11 does have recs on the table. Also, if you have a cover letter, resume, but you need help rewriting or an opinion on, we do offer advice in that area, as well as salary and wages and what you should be asking for and what you should be offered. All right. Let me grab some of the documentation, then we'll get started.
Transmitting live via satellite. Yeah. Who we be? Huh. 1 to 2, man. To the 3, to the 4, to the 5. You know the time when we rock the spot. Artifacts, New Jerusalem, catch wreck and get the pop. You know the time when we rock the shit. Tame 1 and MCL, we be the ultimate. We bring forth the thoughts in rap sports. Niggas play the bench sports. Overtime if niggas wanna shine. Divine with the intricate shit. Who on to bring it? To the table able, now we're stable on the disc. The Heineken bottle catcher, Shropshire, slasher, dash the bastard with the fastest ass capture. No moonwalk, my tunes talk all about a fucking loan. Phone me home, I'm in the middle like I'm on. Love to do dubs on deck without a mic check. Collect no checks, but catch wreck on set. Deuce is loose, TPP represent C. Death Squad, Boom Squad, and Artifacts make 3. Like Dennis Scott dropping 1 for the wisdom. Cause when I get some, I'll be fucking up they system. All temperatures cheer when I appear from the mist. Priceless, ISIS and never see another Christmas. You know the time when we rock the spot. Artifacts, New Jerusalem, catch wreck and get the pop. You know the time when we rock the shit. Tame 1 and MCL, we be the ultimate. You know the time when we rock the spot. Artifacts, New Jerusalem, catch wreck and get the pop. You know the time when we rock the shit. Tame 1 and MCL, we be the ultimate. Test me, the best beat. Checking for my recipes. Mess with me and I'll be draining all your fucking energy. Galactic tactics, match wits, I'm from the brick. I used to catch a switch from any walk by bitch. But now it's to the break like this jocks. This rock is hot. Got props and plus bus shots for what I got. Don't sniff shit, but snot hops. You better watch the snot box, I'll dish you. Then I'll clear the air like Scott tissue. The issue got a barcode on funk mode. So now I pack a trunk load of skunk for the underground chunks. Cause I bumps in any system. Who dissed them? Watch me back them up from all the way from New Jerusalem to Manhattan. Satin and silk, killed the best built. I guess the milk was no good. So now I'm classified a true hood. Check this nigga. Live on Kodak tints or bust the pimp. Cause I'm not a boogaloo shrimp. Tame 1, the Jesus and the Judas. Cause when I hit the Buddha, my problems manifest as deep rooted. Yeah, you know the time when we rock the spot. Artifacts, New Jerusalem, catch wreck and get the pop. You know the time when we rock the shit. Tame 1 and MCL, we be the ultimate. You know the time when we rock the spot. Artifacts, New Jerusalem, catch wreck and get the pop. You know the time when we rock the shit. Tame 1 and MCL, we be the ultimate. MC, you Universal, no rehearsal on tap with rap. So magnificent, sufficient, all that. Tall facts from the 6-footer. In slang, I be the gooder. Good at best, put the rest, acts that's less. Sub, like a wreck stir, prefer tracks to measure. Size up, MCs that need the wise up, fucking they lives up. Urban survivalists, live with this, flow style, try with this. That gets all up in your shit, for all reasons. Number one, you're sleeping. Speaking like a deacon, catch the drops, my props leaking. Seeking on the deep end, sinking while I'm thinking of ways to play my competition without blinking. The ink's on the sheet with rhymes, not a unique, complete batter. Astounding feats, yo, it don't matter. Capitalize while I'm categorized the G, L to the tame to the O-N-E. You know the time when we rock this spot. Artifacts, new Jerus, catch wreck and get the props. You know the time when we rock the shit. Team 1 and MCL, we be the ultimate. You know the time when we rock the spot. Artifacts, new Jerus, catch wreck and get the props. You know the time when we rock the shit. Team 1 and MCL, we be the ultimate. You know the time when we rock the spot. Artifacts, new Jerus, catch wreck and get the props. You know the time when we rock the shit. Team 1 and MCL, we be the ultimate. You know the time when we rock the spot. Artifacts, new Jerus, catch wreck and get the props, nigga. You know the time when we rock the shit. Artifacts, MCL, we be the ultimate. Ultimate. Yeah, that's it.
All right, let's get started, man. Only a couple items on the docket, but we'll try to fly through it. All right, so first item on the docket is from Tech Central, South Africa. South Africa's heavy hitters opt for a cloud-based future. Okay. A host of organizations core to keeping South Africa running are moving their operations into the cloud. Eskom, Transnet, the Reserve Bank, South African Airways, Sasol, the Post Office, and Vodacom all have a cloud-focused strategy to enhance their stability and reliability and cut their running costs. They're also expecting the cloud to enhance as well as support their operations with these old institutions, hoping new cloud-based software will make them more agile and competitive. IT leaders from many vital organizations exchange ideas, pain points, and advise recently at a Tech Central CIO Perspectives Roundtable sponsored by SUSE to discuss using the cloud for business survival. While South Africa is usually a follower rather than an early adopter of technologies, two factors here make businesses as usual impossible: the erratic electricity supply and the dire shortage of people with necessary IT skills. Moving the infrastructure, data, and applications into the cloud is enticing with the massive resources of service providers like Microsoft, Amazon, and Google able to offer 24/7 uptime. There's also the benefit of being able to scale their processing power or storage capacity up and down as their requirements rise and fall without investing in their own infrastructure. Seeing the cloud simply as a safety measure is to underestimate its real value of creating agility and resolving business and problems through the new technologies it makes available, some panelists stress. Discovery has benefited by quickly plugging in facial biometric systems from Amazon Web Services, shortcutting the long development period that would have otherwise required, says Marcus Portman, Discovery's chief enterprise architect. The value proposition of the cloud varies according to the type of business you run, he said. Discovery's Vitality division is purely cloud-based, while its banking side has very strict governance regimes to adhere to. It's not always a good idea to drop traditional applications into the cloud unless you can structure them properly, he says. Sasol has a two-sided approach, says its global head of infrastructure, Mogato. Moving the technologies that run its core operations to the cloud would be difficult, but it's an obvious step to put its analytical systems there and enhance them with new software available from the cloud service providers. The cloud is core to APSA's strategy, says Ibrahim, its CIO of enterprise functions. We feel we are on a constant back foot because we are not as advanced as we want to be. Yet we are quite advanced compared to other organizations. We benchmark ourselves with organizations that are born in the cloud, and they have a level of flexibility and scalability that we don't have. Simonian points out that South Africa depends heavily on the organizations represented at the Tech Central debate, yet they are all struggling for growth. It's the speed at which we can adopt new technologies, he says. A lot of born in the clouds are growing at unbelievable rates because it's part of their DNA, and we are trying to build it into ours. ABSA finds working with AWS a pleasure, he says, because there are engineers, not salesmen. They solve business problems. They don't solve storage problems. We are looking at how we can use their AI technologies, and they are available to us much more freely than if we had to build it ourselves. The South African Post Office could also gain a technology refresh via the cloud, says Mafibi, GM of IT security. Much of the post office IT is obsolete, and instead of buying new technologies, it can't access what it needs from the cloud. But he echoes Portsman's worry that moving existing apps to the cloud could be risky. For new organizations, it's easy to come up with cloud native apps, but some post office apps have been there for ages, and it might be very difficult to port and recreate it in the cloud, he says. I'm not going to read this whole thing because most of it is just everyone gets given their opinion. But what I'll say here is that there is a transformation going on over there that is necessary to happen. But like the article said above is that they have a utility issue in terms of continuous delivery of electricity. That I agree with. However, that can easily be solved with proper business continuity, disaster recovery measures. Tesla's Powerwall, for example, a Powerwall system set up in parallel to your normal classic system solves that problem of business continuity and disaster recovery. The other half is of what they're saying is the dire shortage of people with necessary IT skills. I've been talking about this on here for quite some time that the continent needs a lot of IT people at this point. Okay, I was just over there last week, and then that was a conversation that were being had. And what's happening here is if you have the IT skills here, they would gladly have you over there. You can live like a pretty good, live a pretty good lifestyle, and also be contributing to a emerging economy. And so you'll be at the forefront rather than playing catch up here. Here you'll be a desktop support person. Over there, you would be a system admin or systems engineer. Really different environment because they're working at a different pace. Nagone, do you have anything you want to add to this? What's going on?
Hey man, going on pretty good. No, you're pretty much rocking and rolling. As far as that's concerned, yeah. But as far as really going over to Africa with really good IT skills, you're gonna do extremely well. Mike, you were right on the money as far as talking about if you go over there with basic sysadmin skills or basic desktop. I mean, where you're decent. You're pretty decent. You're definitely gonna ride a higher position. You can actually play even a key role in, I would think, helping them to bring on more technology and further develop their infrastructure there, which would be a tremendous learning opportunity for you as well. So, and $50,000 a year, pretty much anywhere on the continent, pretty much. If you're doing $50,000 a year in American dollars, you're living crazily. You're living great, and that's pretty much all around. That's in so many spots around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. 50 grand. That's not a lot of money here, but well, it all depends. We have our own technical third world relations here in the United States. So
Yeah.
50 grand in Tuscaloosa, or in Birmingham, is certainly quite a bit different than it would be here in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you guys follow what I'm saying.
Yeah, let me get to the next item on the docket. All right, next item on the docket is from crn.com. The 12 most in-demand IT certifications in 2020. Cisco has 3 of the most in-demand IT certifications identified by Robert Half Technology, while Microsoft has 2, and Oracle and Salesforce each have 1. Certified experts. Finding professionals with in-demand technology expertise can take time, but businesses and their IT needs can't always wait. As a result, workers and companies alike are turning to training and certification to upskill some or all of their employees. Salaries for workers holding the 12 most in-demand IT certifications identified by Robert Half Technology may be 5% to 10% higher than their peers without similar certifications. Robert Half has found that the most common areas for professional development are cloud computing, security, project management, data science, AI, and machine learning. Cisco has 3 of the most in-demand IT certifications identified by Robert Half Technology, while Microsoft has 2 and Oracle and Salesforce each have 1. Of the 5 vendor agnostic certifications, 2 are in cybersecurity, 1 is in data governance, 1 is in project management, and 1 covers various technologies and operating systems. Let's go through the list. First on the list is CDP, Certified Data Professional. The Certified Data Professional has been offered in its current form since 2015 and replaced the Certified Data Management Professional, CDMP, which was offered by the Institute for Certification of Computing Professionals, ICCP. The CDP Executive Management credential requires attending a 4-day in-person workshop on data management and data governance, as well as passing a written assessment. Certificate holders are required to pass a 90-minute exam on Information Systems Core, a 90-minute exam on Business Core and Data Management, and a specialization exam at 70% or higher. More than half of CDP certificate holders have at least 10 years of industry experience, while a quarter have between 6 and 10 years of industry experience, and the remaining 22% have 6 or fewer years of experience. Some of the specialty credentials offered as part of the CDP include business analytics, data governance, data warehousing, and information systems management. It's actually a pretty interesting cert. If I worked in big data, I would probably snatch one of these up. I can't see how you can go wrong with something like this, because it includes the training. So you're not just taking a certification blindly. You're actually going through a rigorous training based on what this is saying. So I would definitely add it to the list if I was in a big data architect or a database guy. I don't know what's going on with this. All right, Certified Information Systems Security Professional, CISSP. The Certified Information Systems Security Professional certificate, I should say certification, proves a user has what it takes to effectively design, implement, and manage a best-in-class cybersecurity program, and has been compared to a master's degree in IT security. Certificate holders earn an average salary of $141,452 in 2020, according to Global Knowledge. The CISSP exam is based around 8 domains in computer security, security and risk management, asset security, security architecture and engineering, communication and network security, identity and access management, security assessment and testing, security operations, software development and security, Certificate holders need 5 years or relevant experience in 2 or more of the CISSP domains. The average CISSP certificate holder is 48.1 years old, works as a security engineer or analyst, and holds 6.1 certifications in total. According to Global Knowledge, the most popular across certification is the Certified Information Systems Auditors, the CISA. I don't see anything wrong with this. I could actually get the certification. I just haven't taken the time to go take it. What I will say is that you usually don't get your CISSP right out the gate. You have to wait a few years to actually really be ready to prep for something like this. It's a big exam. I think it's like 250 to 275 questions. I don't know what it is now. I know it's been revised last year. So big certification. Biggest certification I've taken, I think, was the CISA. I took that a few years ago. That bust my brain. I had to take a few days off of work after I was done with it. And my brain was hurting. It really squeezes your brain for a lot of knowledge that you have to dig in for. Cisco Certified Internet Work Expert, CCIE. The Cisco Certified Internet Work Expert certifications is generally accepted worldwide as the most prestigious networking certifications in the industry. Certificate holders have established a reputation of leading the industry in deep technical knowledge and deep technical networking knowledge, and are deployed into the most technically challenging network assignments. The CCIE program is currently divided into 6 different areas of expertise or tracks: routing and switching, service provider, security, collaboration, data center, and wireless. Through a rigorous written exam and a performance-based exam, these expert level certification programs set the standard for internet working expertise. The CCIE evaluation consists of a 120-minute written exam with 90 to 110 multiple choice and simulation-based questions, as well as an 8-hour lab exam that tests the user's ability to configure actual equipment and troubleshoot the network in a time test situation.
That is a savage test. That test is a savage. I knew quite a few guys who took it, and my God, everybody came. And I'm talking about smart people, and Mike would know, really smart people who were like tremendous in their jobs and in that type of network or sysadmin role, or however, if you're going to be a CCIE, that exam, it puts hair in your chest. A lot of guys got jacked up from it. I know a couple of people who took the test, didn't pass the first time, were so afraid they didn't take it again. They just worked, but they didn't want to take that test again. They just didn't want to go in there again.
Yeah, it's the beast of all beasts. I mean, the CISSP is a very, very tough exam in itself, but the CCIE is on another level. I would throw OSCP in there as well. OSCP is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
It's probably not as brutal as the CCIE, because the CCIE is a 2-part exam, say Q&A, and then there's the lab experiment after that.
But CCIEs, you got to give them credit when the exam is savage. So and that's really a test whether you have skills or not. So the average CCIE, once they're out and they're dipping around working, these are pretty competent folks. I have to say that. I think, like back in the day when you had the MCSEs and all that, a lot of those guys, a lot of those dudes kind of weak, but the CCIEs, they all come out. They get the wood, man. The wood comes down on them. So they're good. They're actually pretty good at what they do.
All right, next item. Next one on the list is Cisco Certified Network Associate, CCNA. The Cisco Certified Network Associate CCNA certificate was originally focused on routing and switching. In recent years, new certificates have been added around security, cloud collaboration, security operations, design, data center technologies, industrial plants, service providers, and wireless. CCNA certificates are valid for 3 years, and renewal requires certification holders to register for and pass the same or higher level Cisco recertification exams every 3 years. Cisco certificate holders. This is written wrong. They call it a certificate, but it's really a certification. I don't know why, you know, I guess Europeans kind of look at this differently. A certificate is what you're knowledgeable of, what you've learned in practice, and a certification is what you master in. This is a certification, so I'm not entirely sure why they call it a certificate here. Cisco certificate holders in North America were paid an average salary of $101,553 in 2019, according to Global Knowledge. Cisco certifications were held by 16% of all IT professionals in 2019, according to Global Knowledge, with CCNA routing and switching being the most commonly held Cisco certification. 71% of Cisco certified staff held a CCNA and routing certificate in 2019. Global Knowledge found while 18% held a CCNA certificate, a security certificate. So what's happening here is CCNA people are just network guys. They handle the the management of routing and switching. So it's the security side. It doesn't surprise me that in order for them to level up on Cisco security, they would actually go out and get the CCNA security certification. So that being said, I see nothing wrong with this. If you're a networking guy, and I know a lot of networking guys, they love networking. That's just their thing. Shout out to Dewan Lightfoot. He is a big networking brother on YouTube. He's actually he had a live stream earlier this morning. So shout out to him. He's a network engineer out of the Air Force, and does a lot of great work on YouTube and as well as on LinkedIn. So make sure you talk to him if you want to talk about getting into networking. All right. Next on the list is CCNP. The professional level CCNP routing and switching certification demonstrates the ability to plan, implement, and troubleshoot local and wide area enterprise networks. The certification was designed for network engineers and administrators who collaborate with specialists on advanced security, voice, wireless, and video solutions. CCNP routing and switching certificate holders will earn an average salary of $119,178 in 2020, Global Knowledge found, and are most likely to be network engineers or analysts. Cisco launched a new certification framework on February 23rd, 2020, with CCNP Enterprise replacing CNP routing and switching. All new CCNP certifications require candidates to pass 2 exams, a core exam and 1 concentration exam within the technology area. Yeah, so before you get to CCNP, well, most people before they get to CCNP, they usually go through CCNA first, and before they get to CCIE, they usually go through CCNP. So there's a ladder sort of trajectory in how you get to the the golden goose, which is the CCIE.
Well, Mike, you might want to explain, or I'll explain very, very quickly. Yeah, there's a ladder going up because when you go, let's say, to the highest level of the CCIE, you're talking about really a very comprehensive, networking expert. I mean, it takes. You're just not going to study a book and become an expert like that. A lot of this is a lot of hands-on experience, a lot of very extensive practical knowledge. That's why they give you a very strong practical test as well. So there is a series of that certifications you should have before, but a certain level of experience, and that's what really takes you there. A CCIE tends to be a fairly well-experienced individual. Mike, do you have an age limit? A general age, let's say, kind of category on how one would describe a CCIE?
CCIEs are usually about anywhere. They're usually in their 40s. Usually in their 40s or 50s.
Yeah, I didn't know if you've gotten into it, but usually a CCIE tends to be a person who was middle age and above. They tend to be that, over 35, 35 and over. They tend to be that, and that's just because of the years of experience. So anyone saying, "Hey, I want to be a CCIE and get to that, $210,000 a year and 220 and 230 and 250 and all that I want to get to. Okay, but you're gonna have to put the time in. I just want to be very clear about that. These are very experienced people, and these exams are designed not so you get through them and pass them. These exams are designed to tear you out the frame. It's trying to limit how many people actually can get in there. I'm just, especially at the highest levels, I just want to just let you know that. Go ahead, Mike.
CCIEs are usually in leadership positions. They're usually like director of networking or
that's right.
Some kind of principal network engineer, or even now what they call network scientists. They're at the CCIE is the equivalent of maybe a postgraduate degree. That's very much very much the cusp of in between that of a master's and a PhD. These are not people who just cram for an exam and then call it a day. No, these are people who can talk the talk.
It's a doctoral or postdoc, if you want to put it in an academic setting. It's at that level. Mm-hmm. And you have to have very practical hands-on experience as well, because you're gonna have a practical exam as well, where you're gonna have to sit back and really deal with a network like right there, in vivo, in situ, however you want to break it down. It's right there. So you're gonna have to. So it's not like you can play around with this. This is pretty serious stuff. And they're going to test you rigorously. It's very rigorous stuff. So you have to be a more senior person.
All right, next item on the list is Certified Information Systems Auditor, CISA. The Certified Information Systems Auditor certification validates audit risk and cybersecurity skills and is proof of an organization's critical business assets and secured and available. The certification has been around since 1978, making it one of the oldest and most respected credentials available. The CISA exam exists of 5 domains: auditing information systems, governance and management of IT, information systems acquisition development, implementation, information systems operation maintenance, and service management, and protection of information assets. The average CISA certificate holder is expected to make $132,278 in 2020, according to Global Knowledge. Certificate holders on average are 46.9 years old, work as an IT auditor, and hold a total of 3.3 certifications, Global Knowledge found. The most popular cross-certification for CISA certificate holders is ITIL Foundation, according to Global Knowledge. Yeah, I sat for this exam probably back in 2014, 2015, I think. Very grueling exam back then. It was paper-based. It was not on computer yet. And so you're in a room with about 24 people. It's really long. It's about a 4-hour exam. And they're very particular about the answer. So they may ask you a question that has four answers in the answer key. 2 of them may be right. So you may be thinking it's just one answer, but it's actually 2. And so that's the, sort of complications that you run into with some of these exams. I think now they have changed it since it's computer-based, but in my experience, it used to be very grueling. That's why you see very few people with it, because if you don't work in auditing, you really don't need it. But if you want to get into cybersecurity, at least back then, if you wanted to get into cybersecurity, and you couldn't get the CISSP, the CISA was actually the next best exam to go for. Mm-hmm. Let me advance this person. Yeah, shout out to MOT. He says people masking inexperience with lots of education without certs is still looked at as entry level. That's true. That's true. All right, next on the list is A+. CompTIA A+ certification represents the entry-level competency as a computer technician and is a vendor-neutral certification that covers various technologies and operating systems. The CompTIA A+ earned accreditation in 2008 and was held by more than 1 million people worldwide as of 2014. Certificate holders must pass 2 90-minute exams consisting of at most 90 questions in a variety of formats. One of the exams covers mobile devices, networking technology, hardware, virtualization, and cloud computing, and network troubleshooting, while other exam covers installing and configuring operating systems, expanded security, software troubleshooting, and operational procedures. The CompTIA certificate holders in North America earned an average salary of $93,097 in 2019. Global Knowledge found. The most popular CompTIA certifications worldwide in 2019 were Security Plus, A Plus, and Network Plus, according to Global Knowledge. Yeah, we talk about this many times on here before that this is the benchmark of entry level. Everybody starts at the bottom at some point. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter what your race is. Everybody starts at the bottom. And help desk, desktop support, IT analyst. This is it. This is it. I think mine's ran out. I could be wrong. I don't need it anymore because I don't work in that area of IT anymore. But everybody should have this. Every Black male should have this. If you don't have it, it's up to you. But my position is that it's better to have it and not need it, and to need it and not have it. Okay. MCSA, Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate. The Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate certifications are designed for entry-level workers to demonstrate proficiency in Microsoft products, roles, and knowledge areas. The MCSA certifications serve as prerequisites for many Microsoft Certified Solution Expert certifications, which are intended for more experienced IT workers. So this certification is actually going away. This doesn't even matter anymore, so I'm not even going to bother reading it. You have until June to take it. Same thing for MTA. That's all that stuff is going to go away, so I'll just skip right past that. All right. Yeah, Mike Shinnery in the chat says, I started with A+ and landed a job with Dell. Yeah, Dell's very, very strict about their certifications. Dell has their own internal certifications and certificates, but Dell doesn't want you touching their stuff without the A+. That's my experience. I used to work for Dell myself. Oracle Certified Professional. Oracle University allows users to demonstrate your database and Java knowledge and skills with a distinction that is recognized by IT professionals and industries. Understanding how computers organize, use, and process data is essential to understanding how to use data organizations have and to finding innovative ways to manage and use data better. Oracle database design and programming with SQL teaches students to analyze complex business scenarios, design and create data models, and create databases using SQL. Meanwhile, Oracle's programming with PL SQL introduces students to the company's procedural extension language for SQL and the Oracle Relational Database. Oracle Database covers, Oracle Databases courses in database design and SQL and PL SQL programming focuses on data organization, management, and use. Database certificate holders in North America were paid an average salary of $116,961 in 2019. Yeah, you can never go wrong with Oracle. It's just one of those things, just like people used to buy IBM. They never got fired for buying IBM. You can never go wrong with Oracle. Yeah, so business intelligence is usually accompanied with Oracle database certifications. There is a fellow YouTuber by the name of Sub-Zero3639. I think that's how you say his name. He does have a BIDB course that you can take. He does every month. So I would definitely reach out to him on YouTube, Sub-Zero3639, and follow up with him about some of the courses. There are some people in the chat who have sat for his BI course, and it says, and they can actually vouch for it. All right, project management professional. Project management professional provides employers and customers with a level of assurance that a project manager has both experience and knowledge of to effectively define, plan, and deliver their projects. The credential is often a key differentiator in decisions on who to entrust with important organizational project and initiatives. Individuals looking to become certified must have 35 hours of PMP related training. In addition, those who don't have a bachelor's degree must have 7,500 hours of project management experience, while those who have a bachelor's degree or higher need 4,500 hours. The average salary for a PMP certificate holder in 2020 is $143,493, according to Global Knowledge. The average PMP certification holder is 48.7 years old, works as a program manager, and holds a total of 4.5 certifications. Global Knowledge found the most popular cross certification for PMP certificate holder is the Certified Information Security Manager, according to Global Knowledge. Yeah, PMP would PMP would be something that I would advise people to have pursued maybe 10 years ago. But now we moved in, in IT, we live in a DevOps culture. The culture has shifted. Project management is not the business anymore. And so because of that, I don't typically recommend anybody go for PMP. You can't just cram for PMP. Like this is saying, there's all types of requirements for you to get PMP certified. And so it's a very complicated and cumbersome certification to hold. I mean, if you get it, you're very highly sought after, but in places like New York and busy cities, because that's, in these major metropolises, letters behind your name like this do matter. But it's a very complicated exam for IT. We don't use project management framework. We actually use DevOps. And so DevOps is more important than PMP at this point.
Yeah. Mike brings up a great point. And even in New York, that's actually changing a lot. The PMP is actually, it's pretty good. You see a lot of older people who do have it, but really when you start to get into the DevOps and getting involved with the various methodologies, protocols such as waterfall and but Mike, you want to name a couple of others?
Agile.
When you start getting involved in these type of methodologies, that's so important, because a lot of shops, as they say, or a lot of companies have various, they use these methods. Are you using Agile? Are you using waterfall? What type of DevOps are you really rocking and rolling with? And that's what's really key today. Being a PMP, certainly good to have. And if you certainly are very excellent in these methodologies, no question about it, all works to your favor. But it's not as critical if you're very good with these other methodologies that we talk about with SDLC, which Mike had described to you. SDLC,
development life cycle.
That's exactly correct. That will certainly play very, very heavy into you. And anybody who's interviewing a tech person or a technology person, these questions will come up more so, and that will be what would be considered a priori in a hiring process for someone, as opposed to just having a PMP, because it may not necessarily solve the issues of what they may be looking for. Very specific places look for very specific types of methodologies, and if you have those, it's key. PMP doesn't necessarily mean that you will have all that. But anyway, I just wanted to elucidate upon that a bit more as to what Mike was saying. All right, go ahead, Mike.
All right, last one I think here is Salesforce certified. Salesforce certified development lifecycle and deployment. The Salesforce certified development lifecycle and deployment designer credential is designed for professionals who have the requisite skills and experience at managing Lightning platform development and deployment activities, and effectively communicating technical solutions to business and technical stakeholders. Those pursuing the certificate should have experience analyzing the environment and requirements to design an appropriate governance framework, as well as managing the development and deployment lifecycle of the Lightning platform. Certificate holders should also have experience designing and implementing complex development and deployment strategies, as well as communicating the proposed solution and design trade-offs to business and technical stakeholders alike. The exam has 60 multiple choice questions to be completed in 105 minutes, and certificate holders must get at least 68% of the questions right to pass. I honestly have never heard of this Salesforce certified certification. Salesforce has many certifications. The most common one is the Salesforce administrator. Everybody usually starts there and then works their way out. But I don't know too many people who have worked their way out beyond that Salesforce administrator. But if you get Salesforce administrator certified, you are a hot ticket on the market. For whatever reason, companies seem to love Salesforce certified people. So we got Wilsoni and Garbion in the panel. What's going on, man? We also got Complex Design on the panel.
What up, Mike?
What it do?
Oh man, I'm actually just leaving the job, man. I just had to go pick up my iMac because I'm working from home now.
All right.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm in transit doing right now, just leaving the job.
Mm-hmm. All right, let me jump to this next item on the docket from CompTIA.org. CompTIA Network Plus versus new CCNA. Expand this up. When it comes to IT certifications that help build a foundation of skills for a career in computer networking, so CompTIA Network Plus is the best. While other certifications such as the new CCNA cover networking skills, they just can't be CompTIA Network Plus for baseline skills. Here are the 4 reasons we think CompTIA Network Plus outshines the other certifications for people looking to get start their IT career. All right. All right, so Network Plus versus CCNA broadens an IT pro's ability to support any equipment, prepares candidates to work with any tool or product regardless of vendor, which makes an individual's networking capabilities limitless. For CCNA, focuses on the skills needed for Cisco solutions, trains candidates to work with Cisco tools and products exclusively, which limits their networking capabilities. Yes and no. This is actually a very good comparison. CompTIA's Network Plus is vendor neutral, yeah. And so it does have some flexibility in that area where you just have general knowledge of networking from an IT perspective, but the Cisco is very much geared towards its namesake, its brand. And there's nothing wrong with that because the principles of networking is still embedded inside Cisco's certification. So even if you've never taken a CompTIA Network Plus before, you still get a very fundamental overview, if not a deeper fundamental overview of networking with the CCNA. The only problem is, like the comparison is saying, is that you're kind of limited to Cisco's products. With the Network Plus, you kind of get a general overview of all brands, of all routing and switching, regardless of the brand. The new Network Plus is actually fundamentally better than the previous generations because it does have live simulations that you have to pass in order to get past the exam. And the CCNA is usually makes sense if you work with Cisco equipment. If you're in Europe, you probably use Juniper more than Cisco. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to both, and I think you highlighted them. One is if you have like Cisco certification, okay, it's kind of limiting, but then at the same time it makes you a specialist, right? Versus having a general having a general certification, which means that you fundamentally understand like even how a Cisco operating environment would work. However, if Cisco requires that anyone work on their stuff be certified, then the pooch is kind of screwed in that regard. So I'm kind of in the same situation where who I do support for is it's proprietary to that company and that company only. So I could do other stuff, but you know the certifications that I have are with that company.
Mhm. All right. Second comparison is prepares IT pros for specific job roles, provides deep knowledge of networking and imparts networking skills needed for specific job roles. Network field technician, network administrator, network field engineer, help desk technician, network systems engineer, network analyst. On the Cisco side, it says prepares a candidate to support vendor solutions, covers general networking skills related to Cisco products, but is not tied to specific job roles. Yeah, this is true. This is true. No, I have no disagreements with this. Yeah, you're toting the brand if you're Cisco. If you're CCNA, yeah, you're toting the brand. If you're CompTIA, you know, you just need the general knowledge and the sort of field, the sort of roles in the field that you're going to get into. Um, that knowledge, the general knowledge, is going to be more important than actually understanding the branding of the product itself, the routing and switching aspect. You know, ASA firewalls and 2600 routers and switches and stuff like that. They all have their nuances, but there's some companies that don't that I've run into that don't use Cisco equipment. They use D-Link or they use Netgear, especially the business solutions. A lot of branch offices don't use Cisco equipment because it's too expensive. They rather get Netgear, Business Pro, or Linksys for that matter. At that point, you can't really certify in those products, and that's where the Network Plus does come in. So, makes sense. I have no qualms about this. Let me move on to the next one. Trusted validation of skills is well known and respected by employers as a certification designed to advance the IT industry and give IT pros the skills they need to work on any products. Yeah, it's a benchmark. It's a general benchmark. You ask somebody how much experience they have. The certification is also going to weigh out what their level of knowledge is. A lot of people think you can just cram, you know, for CompTIA exams, and that's just not the case. You can to a certain extent, but there's going to be some simulations on the exam that you just need to pass. You cannot pass the exam without passing the simulations. If you don't get the simulations right, nothing else matters. You're going to fail. That's just the way how the exams are designed now. So it's important to actually have, um, you know, general knowledge and general skills. But on the Cisco side, it says new approach to validating skills. Employers are unfamiliar with the revamped CCNA, which was created primarily to support Cisco hardware, and may not know what to expect from certified technicians. Yeah, this is true. There are people who are still holding on to CCNA certifications, for example, and new equipment is out and they don't understand the GUI. They get lost in the GUI because they don't use command line anymore. Or you may have a person who does have the CCNA and they may be Meraki certified, but they don't have any idea what to do in command line from a router and switch that was from the early 2000s or the mid 2000s or the late 2000s or the late 2000s. And so something that's about 10 to 12 years old that hasn't been updated, there's some commands in it you may not know. But you have the certification, but that doesn't mean much. And so that's where that, you know, confusion of validating skills becomes critical. All right, provides technical skills plus essential business skills. In addition to ensuring IT pros possess critical multi-vendor networking skills, CompTIA Network Plus also provides business skills demanded by today's workplace. Yeah, there's a general sense of how a help desk person should coordinate themselves, how a desktop support person should coordinate themselves, because there's a process of how to deal with service management. And so that comes with the Network Plus. On the other hand, with the CCNA, offers technical skills only. The new CCNA provides candidates with technical skills, but doesn't pair them with business skills such as change management, incident management, and troubleshooting. Yeah, that's very true, because you're just there to support the namesake product, and that's it. Maybe that has changed. I don't know with the new Cisco certification, so I don't know, but that is very true, at least of previous exams. So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this. I think they are pretty much on point. I still think that
say it's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I still
Yeah,
think
it's pretty accurate.
yeah, I still think that you know, if you don't have any certification, there's nothing wrong with the Network Plus. People get caught up in the Cisco brand name. You know, they want to be a big Cisco guy, and I've seen many people come in. They look at that, they go through the book, and they're still stuck on chapter 1 and chapter 2, because it's a lot for them to absorb, or it's too much of a mountain for them to climb, because they really have not grasped down the general networking knowledge necessary to actually sit for the exam. And that's why the Network Plus even exists. And so I'll never tell anybody to just jump out there like, oh, go take your CCNA. Yeah, you're gonna fail it because you don't really understand networking architecture at all. You think that, you know, you can cram for the exam. Yeah, you can cram for you know, these exam questions, but do you have a fundamental understanding of network architecture? Do you have a fundamental understanding of just network knowledge? Why TCP IP is used versus UDP? Why what ports and protocols are necessary for functionality in the business? You don't really understand the general knowledge. You're not going to be useful in the CCNA or CCNP or CCIE perspective. You won't even make it to CCIE at that point. The new Network Plus does really go over a lot of in-depth knowledge of networking, and that, you know, I still refer to it sometimes myself, because there's just some things I just may have forgotten. I mean, now we have Google, but there's still some rough commands in there that I just, you know, may use. I may use ping with you know, -R or so on and so forth. There's some other rough commands that I may use that, you know, to get some of my day-to-day work done. So, and plus, if you go to the community tab, there's a link at the Black Brain Trust. For the community tab, you'll see that there is discounted certifications for both Cisco certifications and CompTIA, and they're 50% off if you can take it tomorrow or the next day. Although with this coronavirus, I don't know if those things will hold up for very long. I'll be interested to see how those play out. All right, this is from dice.com. Network and system administrators top skills employers want. I think we already went over this. Yeah, I think we went over this before. Let me go over it again anyways, since we're already here. Expand this out. Even as automation threatens a variety of IT infrastructure jobs, networking and system administrators continue to enjoy good job prospects over the next decade. According to Burning Glass, which collects and analyzes millions of job postings from across the country, network and system administrators will grow 6.1% over the next 10 years. The median salary for the position is $75,999, although those with experience and the right mix of skills can expect to earn far more. Automation can execute any number of tasks necessary to keep networks and IT infrastructure running, but companies know a human being is ultimately necessary to make nuanced decisions and take a holistic view of the system. In the eyes of many employers, Certifications are necessary for judging whether candidates actually possess those skills and experience. According to Bernie Glass, here are the certifications cited by a fair number of job postings. As you'll notice, security is a huge deal. Given a high-profile security breaches over the past several years, there's no surprise executives want to know that their network and system administrators can detect and thwart the inevitable attacks on their system. So I said this the last article about the necessity for certification. I think the last two articles earlier. It says in the first line here, it says, or first sentence here, it says certifications are necessary for judging whether candidates actually possess those skills and experience. Yeah. What happens when you have to have a CCIE person really come in and manage your network? Are you going to trust them at their word, or are you going to use that CCIE? I'm going to go with the CCIE from a recruiter standpoint. I'm looking at the CCIE. You're the guy I want to talk to. I don't want to talk to some guy who's going to, play the rigmarole and you ask them a few questions and they come back with the hamina. I don't need all that.
Pulling out Ralph Cramden, right? But
yeah,
but there's no about it. Yeah, that CCIE, if he's got that certification, he comes in, he's managing your network. That's a real guy. Somebody else who's coming in doesn't have it. He's definitely more questionable. No question about it, Mike.
Mm-hmm. So certifications and frequency requested. Security clearance, sometimes. You need a security clearance, public trust, secret, top secret. Those are critical in government and government contractor jobs. Very, very painful to go through. Public trust is usually easy to get. You usually get that in a few weeks, but anything that's secret, top secret, pain in the balls, in my opinion. Just as an FYI, CompTIA Security Plus sometimes, Security Plus isn't really in demand anymore. It is a baseline of knowledge. It's better to have it than to need it, and to need it and not have it. I usually use that for like CPEs. It's always beneficial to have that. Cisco Certified Network Associate, CCNA, occasionally is requested. That's what they're saying. Occasionally is requested. That may be 50-50. ITIL certification, occasionally. Not everybody really requires you to be ITIL certified, but those who are certified are more likely to get a call back than those who are not. And so I taken mine years ago. I probably will take another one in the next year or so, maybe at the end of the year, just to beef up the other certifications that are going to be expiring. So it's occasionally requested. MCSA, it's occasionally requested. MCSE, occasionally requested. Not really in demand all that much anymore because of Azure. CISSP, occasionally requested. Not really all that much in demand at the lower end, but at the top end, yeah. If you have it, it's better. If you don't have it, it's something to work on later. In addition, these are some of the most requested skills for networking and system administrators. Employers expect candidates to be well-rounded when it comes to skills and experience. If you have this foundation, you can specialize as necessary for a particular job. System administrator, baseline is troubleshooting skills. Linux, communication skills. VMware, problem solving. Microsoft Active Directory, planning. Windows Server, teamwork, collaboration. Technical support, Microsoft Windows. Hardware and software installation research. Yeah. System and database administrative skills, those are the skills that they look for. During the job interview, expect to answer lots of questions about not only your certifications and training, but about times you tackled real world problems. You may be also tested to on your aptitude with particular technologies. Yeah, so this is very true. If they will find some way to look at the, sample questions on CCNA or something like that, and they're gonna try to drill down on you. I told this story before, but I used to work for a certain company, major company in cybersecurity, and myself and my coworker, who was another person of color or minority for that matter, for the Middle East, we went out to lunch and came back, and these jocks, IT jocks, basically the crew of this sort of IT gang, in the organization, they drilled this brother from the Middle East about his knowledge on CCNA, and they Googled all of the answers and questions, and they fired at him as soon as he came back from lunch. And he answered all of the questions. Some of them, I think out of 5 questions, I think he answered like 3 of them, and the 2 of them he just didn't know. They didn't know the answers either. They had to Google it. And see, that sort of hazing goes on in interviews and on the job, and it could be very stressful. And that's why, it's better to just come with the certification, man, and don't just cram for it, man. Really know what you're talking about. Too many times, a person comes out here, and they cram for the exam overnight, but when it comes to actual knowledge of what's going on, they're like, hamina. That's you don't want to be in a hamina position, man. You want to be very well confident about what you're certified in and what you know. Too many times that happens, but I felt sorry for that brother, man, because they hazed him to a point where he quit the job, and they did that on purpose so they could bring their own people in. Very racist and sort of xenophobic views that you have in IT sometimes, but that's the nature of the industry. We got to keep it techie on the panel.
Peace. What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
What it do?
Keep it techie. What's up, baby?
What's up, man? What's up?
All right.
Right. We still got
nothing to add. Yeah. We definitely.
All right.
Yeah, but go ahead, techie. Go ahead.
No, you said nothing to add.
No.
Also, don't.
Nah, you on point. You on point though, Mike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Also, don't neglect soft skills. Network and system administrators must explain complicated concepts and high-stakes decisions to a variety of stakeholders, including executives and workers who might not have any technological background. As a result of that, it's important to emphasize your communication and teamwork abilities during the interview, and then utilize those abilities during the actual job itself. Yeah, this is very true. You have a lot of people who are in the tech industry that just don't know tech. Don't always assume that everyone knows what you're talking about. You need to really drill it down to first grade level, layman terms, the ability to actually communicate with people, give real world examples of how something works. Stop talking over people's heads as if they're on the same level with you. Your ability to actually deliver a presentation at the baseline and get people to understand what blockchain is, or what networking is, how a database works, how a relational database works, how a static database works, so on and so forth. You need to be able to really speak in that way, in that manner, so that people can understand you, and don't always expect, in this industry, most people speak more than one language. So some of the terms of vocabulary that you may be using may not be transferable to their language too. So you got to really speak in a way that is digestible for all markets and all people of these markets. The core takeaway here is that network and system administrators will remain valued even if aspects of their jobs become increasingly automated. That puts the impetus on anyone interested in the profession to master all things that software can't do: communication, advanced problem solving, architecting. Once you've reached that point, the financial rewards will follow. Yeah, you cannot automate the nuances of human interaction. It's just one of those things. Yeah, it can, you can resolve a ticket, quicker, through an automated process. But what happens when you have to explain that to somebody who's higher up than you? The automation can never do that. So get a crisp mouthpiece.
Yeah, if I could add to that though, Mike,
Yes, sir.
uh, that is very true.
Mhm.
You should really understand your craft. You know what I'm saying? You can explain it, and you got to work on your people skills and talking and communicating with higher ups that you have to present things to and
Mhm.
break it down to a level where they can fully understand. So yeah, that's 100% right.
Yeah. If you want.
Very important,
Mhm.
very important, because many interviews you do have, just like what these two brothers just said, Techie and Mike, they're dead on it. And I can tell you in the interview process as well as they start to interview people, various positions in tech, especially if you are involved. Let's say you're working at a bank, or you let's say you're working at a financial company or a trading group, however, and there's a lot of information uh, that's coming through. You're a developer, or however you're doing a lot now. You have to talk to your to a managing director or something else like that to let them know kind of what may be going on, and that individual may not have a technical background or whatever. You're going to have to be able to speak to them in kind of some very common lay terms that they can understand. So being able to really, express, talk to people who are not very technical, but yet you can get your ideas across as to what exactly is needed, and you could talk to them about what's going on, in a way that is not technical, but yet they have a very good understanding of it. It's very important. And some technical positions, you might have some people who just maybe in the back closet and you don't see them. But if you are dealing in a role where you're backing up a trading group or something else, like backing up a trading department or something else like that, um, you're going to be interfacing with people who may not be as technical. And if you're not successful in doing that, and these people come away from you, well, they don't understand what's going on. So therefore, any kind of um, suggestions that they may make to help, let's say, the trading process work better and so forth. If you can't, that can't be properly translated, it could create problems. So that is very important. You have to have good communication skills with respect to that. And I think sometimes that may get a little bit overlooked, but people in the industry know that. But I just but that's a great point. You have to stress that, because that is very important.
And the Goon could
And
actually attest to that, because before he sends his candidates in for an interview, he's doing a quick drill down. Do you know this? Can you answer this? How to conduct yourself. Is that tie straight? Is it crooked? Don't come in there with a clip on. All of those things matter.
That's exactly correct. See, anytime I send anybody in for an interview, I do an interview prep.
Yep.
So and usually that may be an hour, that may be over a 2 session period, to make sure that we are straight and really ready to go
Mhm.
when you interview. So of course, how you look and all that is very important. But also how you communicate and understanding what's coming down before it comes down is critical as well. But being able to certainly communicate is very, very, very important, very critical. And some people may overlook that, but that's great that you bring it up, because sometimes that gets lost in the mix a little bit, and you know that's got to be expressed. Being able to definitely have those soft skills and be able to talk technical in a non-technical environment, um, and have others understand, important skill.
Yeah.
and just also just know that you could be working with different departments in the company, whatever the company is doing. That I mean, like for instance, just to give an example, I was working for a company and I had to work directly with the finance department, with the CFO, the chief financing officer, and I had to actually learn some financial terms in order to operate in that or work with that application that I was working for, because it was a finance software. It was a database, and I understand databases, but I also had to understand how to talk in use those financial terms like EBITDA, and You know, all those financial terms, I can't think of them right now because it's been a while since I did it. But um, yeah, you have to understand what department you're working with as well. I'm not saying go to the extreme where you know everything about it, but you have to be able to understand what they're saying to you. Like I remember writing down a whole bunch of terms in meetings and looking them up, um, so I could speak on them in the future. When it came down to me understanding what these guys needed for that department, that specific department, so I can manage the tool properly that they needed. So just
Mhm.
adding that. Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Excellent example.
Yeah. All right, next item on the docket is from openpr.com. IT as a service market to witness massive growth during the forecast period. Global key players include BMC Software, HPE, IBM, Red Hat, VMware, Accenture, Adaptive Computing, TA Technology, Cisco Systems, Citrix Systems, Cloud Vault Software. So IT as a service from its databases, which covers the market landscape and its growth prospects over the coming years. Getting in this, sorry, IT as a service market is continuously growing in the global scenario at significant pace. IT as a service is an operational model where the information technology provider delivers an information technology service to a business. The IT service provider can be an internal IT organization or an external IT services company. The recipients of IT as a service can be a line of business, organization within or enterprise, or small and medium business. The information technology is typically delivered as a managed service with a clear IT service catalog and pricing associated with each of the catalog items. Growing need to maintain a low cost infrastructure and increase in adoption of bring your own devices are substantial driving factors of the market during the forecast period. With the deployment of bring your own device policy has resulted in increased need for cloud-based storage systems coupled with quick access to data, which is a major factor aiding the growth of the market. Yeah, so this is really true. Everybody is bringing in their own sort of equipment, iPads, iPhones, Samsung Galaxies, Android devices, Android tablets, smart watches from Fitbit and Apple. You know, Chromebooks now. Chromebooks are really popular now in organizations because it's the cost factor. And so delivering IT from a service standpoint means that it has to cross multiple areas of the organization. Data management, cybersecurity, database management, and database administration. All of these areas have to be serviced, and IT as a service has taken a new form because of fourth industrialization, and so different sort of products that have to work with each other, interoperability, that stuff becomes major, and that's why people really need to have more of a broader perspective on information technology, rather than to just look at it from a Best Buy standpoint, Geek Squad. We're talking beyond that, man. All right, next item on the docket is from towardsdatascience.com. Top programming languages for AI engineers in 2020. From several programming languages, AI engineers and scientists can pick the right one that suits the need of their project. Without going too far into this, let me read the first paragraph. Artificial intelligence has now become an integral part of our daily lives with all the benefits it provides over hundreds of unique use cases and situations, not to mention how simple and easy it has made things for us. While the boost in recent years, AI has come a long way to help businesses grow and achieve their full potential. These advancements in AI would not have been possible without the core improvements in underlying programming languages. With the boom in AI, the need for efficient and skilled programmers and engineers skyrocketed along with improvements in programming languages. While there are plenty of programming languages to get you started with developing on AI, no single programming language is a one-stop solution for AI programming, as various objectives require a specific approach for every project. So what are the most popular languages? So Python. Python is always talked about on here. Engineering Cannabis always speaks highly of Python. It's a very simple language to learn. It doesn't have a whole lot of deep system development that's necessary, like C++. C++ and Python are kind of on two opposite sides of the spectrum to get the same amount of work done. But that's the nature of the coding language. So Python is really the most popular and something that you should learn. And as we said before, there's libraries that go with this: TensorFlow, Scikit-learn, PyTorch, Keras, Spark, MillLab, or Lib, MXNet, Theano, PyBrain. So it's a variety of programming languages out there that to use to actually get into AI. But Python is like the most frequently requested, and we can see it here. Java as well is on the list. So as we see right here, Java is listed. Java is considered one of the best programming languages in the world, and the last 20 years of its use is proof of that. Yeah, a lot of Java programmers. In fact, Game Changer 00100 is a Java fanatic himself. So he loves Java, prefers it over everything else. For whatever reason, I'm not a programmer, so I can't speak to that. But he can speak to that more if you go subscribe to him. R was created by Ross Ayaka and Robert Gentleman. What a name. With the first version being launched in 1995, currently being maintained by the R development core team. R is the implementation of S programming language and aids in developing statistical software and data analysis. The qualities that are making R a good fit for AI programming among developers are the fundamental feature of R being good at crunching huge numbers puts it in a better position than Python with its comparatively unrefined NumPy package. Yeah, most of the time I speak to data science people or data architect people or data engineers. They talk about using Python and R, not one of the other. So they use it in tandem with each other. With R, you can work on various paradigms of programming, such as functional programming, vectorial computation, and object-oriented programming. Some of the AI programming languages available for R are Gmodels, TM, RoDBC as an ODBC interface for R, 1R for implementing one-rule machine learning classification algorithm useful for machine learning models. Yeah, R is very popular. Really can't go wrong with R. Everybody I know in data science knows of R or uses R. So Prolog, short for logic programming. Prolog first showed up in 1972. It makes for an exciting tool for developing artificial intelligence, specifically natural language processing and the NLP. Prolog works best for creating chatbots. Eliza was the first ever chatbot created with Prolog to have ever existed. So 1972, this was before most of us were even born, sans Nagon 11. But these languages are pretty old. You hear Nagon talk about COBOL and other mainframe languages that you don't really see today, but still predate most of the peoples in the chat.
And Mike, what's really funny about a lot of this stuff is a lot of stuff is still around.
Yeah.
COBOL, CICS, DB2, and all that, that's still kicking. That's still around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people, don't really realize it. All they know is Python, but don't realize that there's some other languages that came long before Python. Yeah, Lisp. You hear a lot of Mandatharians speak with a Lisp. Lisp is short for Lisp processing. It is the second oldest programming language next to Fortran. Called as one of the founding fathers of AI, Lisp was created by John McCarthy in 1958. That's before Carl was born as well. Built as a practical mathematical notation for programs, Lisp soon became the choice of AI programming languages for developers very quickly. Below are some of the Lisp features that make it one of the best options for AI projects on machine learning. Rapid prototyping, dynamic object creation, garbage collection. A lot of niggas in the manuscript garbage. Flexibility. With major improvements in other competing programming languages, several features specific to Lisp have made their way into other languages. Some of the notable projects that involve Lisp at some point in time are Reddit and Hacker News. Yeah.
Lisp with the benefit. Mike.
But then you have, it's facts. It's facts. But then you have, to ask yourself that question, is it really necessary to use Lisp? Okay, Reddit and Hacker News use Lisp, okay, at some point. Okay, so what? I'm not a big programmer, but I'm not a big fan of adopting old languages that are cumbersome to develop on, and where the garbage collection, and you hear that a lot in programming. That's very important. But C# actually does a lot of what these languages do, and it's cross-platform compatible. So you're not
great language, C#. Great.
Yeah, C# is very, very, very much does everything that this 1958 language is actually speaking to. So,
well, one thing about that, Mike, a lot of these languages are constantly being developed, and they add different libraries to them.
Yep.
So they're being modified to today's way of programming. So if you understand the programming language from from earlier on, a lot of what's added to it assists with the new way of actually writing programs or creating programs by adding those libraries and all that stuff. So that's why a lot of them are coming back around. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Julia is a high performance and general purpose dynamic programming language tailored to create almost any application, but is highly suited for numerical analysis and computational science. Various tools available for working with Julia are popular editors such as Vim and Emacs. IDE such as Juno and Visual Studio. Keep It Techie is familiar with Vims in the Unix world, Linux world, so he might be more comfortable with something like Julia.
Yeah, you're right.
So I find it interesting that they say all this for AI. I have no dog in the fight because I'm not a programmer or a developer like that. But C#, from my understanding, does everything that this can do and is even faster at development. My understanding is that C# actually is easy to learn as well. You're talking less than 6 months. You probably won't be an expert, but even right here, it shows it on the list. It shows this little barometer right here. Shows that JavaScript, Python, Java, PHP, C# is there. So C# does 90% of what these other languages do in a more simpler format. And that's actually on my goal for this year, to actually learn C# because I do want to use it in blockchain development as I transition now from one IT role to another.
You looking to get more into programming, Mike?
No, in cybersecurity, you got to know more about automating certain activities that you need. And so some of those languages like Python is really popular in cybersecurity, but in terms of like blockchain, C# is actually going to be king of the hill because it's cross-platform compatible, whereas Python, you can only go so far with it.
Yeah, it's cross-platform. Also works well with Microsoft shops as well. Very, 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 very strong language. Very strong language.
Hey, Mike, can I ask something right fast?
Right.
I was just going to talk about OR. One thing about OR is it's kind of up and coming, like what you said with as data science goes. So it's a good thing for you guys to look into. And I missed a free conference in San Diego because it conflicted with something else, but they do free OR training throughout the country. I know it's not good right now that the whole coronavirus thing going on, but just look on Eventbrite and a couple of other meetup type software or applications, and look for OR because they do free training because they're trying to put it out there as far as data science. So if you're interested in data science, they do have the training out there for you, and it's all free. You just bring your own laptop. Like I said, I wish I could have went, and this happened last year. I wish I could have went. It just conflicted with something, but all you gotta do is bring your laptop and yourself, and they go through how to actually understand OR. So
Yeah. Yeah, Josh missed out on a free lunch.
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, Red Hat is really good at doing this as well. They have Red Hat tours, and basically Red Hat goes from city to city with free, Keep It Techie is saying, these sort of free seminars, free webinars sort of deals. All you gotta do is bring a laptop. They pay for the lunch, so. All right, next item on the docket is from builtin.com. Engineering leaders discuss the best programming languages to learn right now. With over 700 programming languages in existence, deciding which one to master can be overwhelming. Start with foundations like Python and C++, or explore new languages like Rust and Crystal. I never even heard of Crystal. Used to date chick like that. According to Cirrus MD CTO Gabe Varela, old school is the new school. His team at Cirrus MD still utilizes Python and Ruby on Rails for data engineering tasks. And although those tried and true languages aren't going anywhere, new programming languages do bring some improvements. Rust, a programming language that launched in May 2016, is praised for its ability to write safe code, meaning objects are managed by the programming language from the beginning to end, rather than developers doing pointer arithmetic or managing memory like they do in C and C++. Yeah, some of the biggest problems in C is memory management. That's why you saw certain applications in the 90s, like in Windows 95, Windows 98, Windows 2000, you would need a lot of memory for a Windows computer because the programs that were written in C++ and C had what they call memory holes, and they would consume all of this memory that was available, and your system would bog down, and so you would have to keep throwing more memory at it. It was just a pain. It's still a pain to this very day, but to their point, Rust actually fixes a lot of that. So does C# from my understanding. But I remember those days when you had to have, 256 megabytes of memory, 512 megabytes of memory. You couldn't afford that. Stuff was expensive back then. And so to run a lot of these applications, especially for music production, video production, they were just poorly written, but they would be later fixed with patch updates. Even Microsoft released service packs, over time, for Windows 2000 and XP and so on and so forth. Windows 7. Yeah, memory holes. A lot of problems. Community surrounding Rust empowers developers to make secure applications quickly. Said Ido Samuelson, Reserve Trust Head of Engineering. Ultimately, to be a successful engineer, prospective programmers don't have to know every language. While the following engineering leaders can all agree they look for good developers first, each professional we spoke with had a preference when it comes to programming languages. From Python to Rust to C# and JavaScript, here are the tools they are using and what they look for in resumes. Pi Insurance, never heard of it. CTO Mike Goinfrido watches rising programming languages, but still believes that Python and C# are essential languages for programmers to learn due to their versatility. During interviews at Pi Insurance, he lets engineers select the language used during coding tests. Programming languages are tools, and all good developers can learn them. In the job market, which languages are hot right now? Do you look for specific languages on resumes? I love the growth in programming languages over the past 5 to 10 years, and the rise in functional programming languages like Scala has been interesting to watch. Though not a new language, Python is a great language for all developers to be well versed in. It allows you to create a wide variety of applications and is very popular in data science, in the data science community. We are mostly a C# shop, but we don't make it a requirement. Programming languages are tools and our good developers can learn them. We look for good software engineers first. In the coding test during the interview, we let the candidate select the language. So that's a sort of process that most candidates are going to run into when they go into an interview. There's no certification for Python and all that stuff. Either you know it or you don't. That's the position that the industry takes. That's why you have something like a GitHub. You can put all your work on there and you can refer back to it. And then they'll, from there, that will determine. That's the best way to certify it is have a GitHub account and put your work on there, even if you have to copy somebody else's. What's a programming language you're not currently working with that you like to? We are doing some prototyping work with Go, and I think it's a great match for solutions being built with serverless architecture. I'm really interested in exploring Kotlin. It does a better job of combining functional and object-oriented features that other languages, and the fact that it's interoperable with Java allows a large number of developers to be productive without much effort. Yeah. Kotlin, they use that a lot in the blockchain area. Go as well. Go is really used as well in terms of like Ethereum, and so is Kotlin. And so smart contracts and blockchain applications, Go and Kotlin are very popular. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but just to give you a gist of what's going on in terms of development in programming languages. Everybody, there is no one size fits all. It's more about having a general idea of can you look at some code and can you see some of the faults? You're not supposed to know how to design a whole entire operating system. You're supposed to be able to have some literacy, know about pointers and so on and so forth. All right, last one on the docket is from Forbes.com. The emergence of ML ops, machine learning ops. In the latter part of the 2000s, DevOps solutions emerged as a set of practices and solutions that combines development-oriented activities with IT operations in order to accelerate the development cycle while maintaining efficiency and delivery and predictable high levels of quality. The core principles of DevOps include an agile approach to software development with iterative, continuous collaborative cycles combined with automation and self-service concepts. Best-in-class DevOps tools provide self-service configuration, automated provisioning, continuous build and integration of solutions, automated release management, and incremental testing. Solutions for DevOps include tools for managing development communication processes and tasks, capabilities for testing and integration, ability to provision server, application, and infrastructure, tools for managing code, artifacts, releases, and monitoring of logs and deployments. In this way, organizations can quickly build, develop, test, deploy, and manage code quickly with high degrees of visibility and quality. Given the track record of success that DevOps has had in making application development more robust, efficient, and speedy, it makes sense that the developer-focused organizations want to apply DevOps approaches and methodologies to the development, deployment, and management of machine learning models. Yeah, DevOps works in some shops, but then DevOps does not work. Although we adopt some DevOps principles, the problem is we can't just patch every single system because at the pace that DevOps works, we have to test, and testing could take days, if not, if not a month or so. We won't really know. So we can't apply a patch or an update to, let's say, our cloud instance or our server, because if we apply that patch and it brings down our server at breakneck speed, we're screwed. So DevOps works in some areas, in other areas it doesn't. Applying DevOps to ML. However, DevOps approaches to machine learning and AI are limited by the fact that machine learning models differ from traditional application development in many ways. For one, machine learning models are highly dependent on data, training data, test data, validation data, and of course, the real world use in inferencing. Simply building a model and pushing it to operation is not sufficient to guarantee performance. DevOps approaches for ML also treat models as code, which makes them somewhat blind to issues that are strictly data-based. In particular, the management of training data, the need for retraining of models, and concerns of model transparency and explainability. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true, because it's not that machine learning is more complicated. It's the structure of machine learning that you have to actually take into consideration in DevOps, because DevOps works at such a fast pace. You can't really train machine learning at the same pace as DevOps and get the same results as you would a non-machine learning application. And so there needs to be, some leadway in between training the ML model and then, or training the data set and then applying it to DevOps. It's a really quirky area to really apply machine learning in DevOps. As organizations move their AI projects out of the lab and into production across multiple business units and functions, the processes by which models are created, operationalized, managed, governed, and versioned need to be made as reliable and predictable as processes by which traditional application development is managed. In addition, as the markets for AI shift from those relatively few organizations that have the technical expertise required to build models from scratch to those enterprises and organizations looking to consume models built by others, The focus shifts from tooling and platforms focused solely on model development to tools and platforms focused on overall usage, consumption, and management of models. Yeah.
Pussy deal.
Yeah, that happens. You know, that happens. You're breaking apart the development process into the IT ops process. So in machine learning. Implementing artificial intelligence solutions that at scale can be challenging. Many organizations and public sector agencies struggle to rapidly deploy, manage, and secure machine learning models that power the core of today's AI solutions. Furthermore, data scientists, IT operations, and data engineering line of business, and machine learning engineering teams often work in silos. Yeah, this is true. And that's why it's so hard to implement ML into DevOps, because the process for ML is such that it works at a slower pace, and it can't move faster than it can be trained for the data sets. And so that's where the problem is. This results in complexities for creating, managing, and deploying ML models within their own division or organization. These challenges are further complicated as these organizations share those models within or across the entire organization or agency, or alternatively consume third-party models or models from outside the organization. As a result, the increased complexity of dealing with multiple models and different versions from multiple sources result in issues around model versioning, governance of models, and access, potential security risks, challenges with regard to monitoring model usage, and duplicated efforts with multiple teams creating very similar models. Yeah. And there you have it. So many variations when it comes to machine learning and AI. It's not as easy as other applications in IT that you can develop. While much of the attention up until now has been focused on development of machine learning models, as the industry moves from innovators and early adopters to the early majority, later entrants will be more concerned about consuming models developed by others and adoption of recognized best practices rather than building their own models from scratch. This means that these models consumers will be primarily concerned with the quality and reliability of existing models more so than attempting to create a data science organization and investing in tools, technology, and people to build their own models. Yeah, they're going to play carbon copy. But how do you know that's going to work for your organization? That's another question. This is a very long article. I'm not going to go into too much of it. And see here, this model right here talks about machine learning dev and machine learning ops. So adding machine learning to DevOps is a practice that we're talking about here. Model dev, data prep, model training, model evaluation, model packaging. So that's the breaking up of the development process in the DevOps methodology. And then you have, from the ops side, model governance, model versioning, model discovery, model transparency, model security, model monitoring. So monitoring is the final piece because you need to pay attention to what it's doing in order to get an idea if it works or not. So that is actually a good process. As opposed to portion of the puzzle, focus on machine learning model development, machine learning model operationalization management, which is often referred to as ML ops, is focused on the life cycle of model development and usage, and in particular aspects of machine learning model operationalization and deployment. Yeah, very interesting. Here, if we're looking at this, there's a 6-step process in terms of ops. The first is the governance aspect, and then it goes into model version. And so this can usually be done by 1 or 2 people, but in ops, in DevOps, we call it a site reliability engineer that will manage all of this. I'm not going to read into too much of this. I'm just going to finish up this these last few bullets. Model lifecycle management, similar to the needs of an application development process in traditional DevOps tools, ML ops tools need to help manage their lifecycle for model development. Model versioning and iteration, as models are consumed, they will most likely be iterated and versioned to deal with new and emerging as models change based on new training or real world data. Model monitoring and management, since the real world continues to change and doesn't match up to the world in use and training data, ML ops solutions need to monitor and manage model usage, consumption, and results of models to make sure that their accuracy, performance, and other measures continue to provide acceptable results. Yeah, monitoring is very important. It's very important. If you lose sight of a deployment in ops, you're never going to get the critical statistics necessary to understand the performance aspect of it. Governance, model governance, models that are used in real world situations need to be relied upon. As such, ML ops platforms provide capabilities for auditing, compliance, governance, and access control. Yeah, you don't want your machine learning models to bring back poor results and not actually be retrained. And so that's where governance comes in. It's oversight. Model discovery, ML ops solutions can provide model registries or catalogs for models produced within the tool ecosystem, as well as searchable model marketplace that provides a way to locate consumable models, both internally developed as well as third-party models. These model discovery solutions provide sufficient information to be able to ascertain the relevance, quality, and data origination, transparency of model generation, and other factors for a particular model. Yeah, very true. Discovery is always a necessary evil in this area. Security, this is my area right here. Models are assets that need to be protected. ML ops solutions can provide functionality to protect models from being corrupted by tainted data, being overwhelmed by denial of service attacks, attacked through adversarial means, or being inappropriately accessed by unauthorized users. Yeah, you don't want your machine learning to be weaponized against you or destroyed. You think about a healthcare organization that is trying to use machine learning. What happens if the bad guys go in there and poison the data? Now you can't have a proper assessment of a patient because the machine learning model has been compromised. That's very serious. That can very well happen. Okay, that can very well happen. But this is the high end of IT. This is not, Best Buy, Office Max. This is the high end of IT. These sort of things matter. This is what drives, the IT economy right now, or the technological fourth industrial economy right now is machine learning. Many people think that machine learning is just easy. AI is just easy. AI security, machine learning security, that's really relevant for people like me in cybersecurity because I have to pay attention to this type of stuff. Did the bad guys get in there? How are we protecting this data? Are we monitoring? Are we looking at this type of stuff? Are we having, do we have proper governance? Visibility, things like that matter. If we can't see what's going on, we're screwed. In this aspect, we wouldn't even actually use DevOps, use blockchain engineering cannabis, because even if the data is up there and is validated, just because the data is validated on the blockchain doesn't mean that the data is what we put up there. Somebody else could have put that data up there and it could be poisoned. Poison data on the blockchain is exactly that. It's poison data. Doesn't really mean much to us. That's the end of the docket, and we'll open it up again, one more again, for anybody who wants to get on the panel and actually have some dialogue for the next 30 minutes. If not, we'll shut it down. But keep it techie. You have anything that you've been hearing that you want to bring up, or?
Not right now, man. I'm still learning all this whole DevOps stuff. So, and agile. I mean, we host meetings every day at a certain time, and I agree with what you said earlier. It doesn't work for every department when it comes to I mean, you have to actually be building something, but they're trying to apply it to everything. For instance, you know, I'm a database administrator, so it's kind of difficult to plan out things when you don't know what's going to happen, because administration is all based on when something goes down, and so you can't really plan for that and come up with a plan, as well as put together different tasks. So they're trying to apply it to that, but it really doesn't work, and it's kind of like a waste of time the way they're trying to implement this towards everything. So I agree with what you said. That's the only thing I could really add when it comes to that.
What's happening with Arch Linux right now? What version are you on?
Right now, I don't know what kernel I'm on. Hold on. Kernel is 5.5.9. That's the most recent kernel right now, because I update my system every day. So that's the kernel that they got out right now. And the way, it's just to speak on Arch Linux is what they call a rolling release. So everything is pushed out. It's no control. I mean, it is control, but things are pushed out more frequently as far as changes go. So that's why there's a chance that something could break, because there's like not really a testing period or a period where you're making sure the actual update is going to work fully. They just kind of push things out as updates come out. So that's one thing different from like Arch and like Ubuntu distributions. They kind of hold off on applications. Like for instance, the Zoom app that I'm using in Arch right now is not really put on any other on a lot of other distributions. You can install a PPA or install it by using a PPA or a different repository that's not fully authorized yet by Ubuntu, but it's not in the repositories yet, from what I remember. So
You use it in Chrome as a plugin, right?
oh no, it's actually installed. But it's in the main repository. That's what I mean by it. Yeah, it's actually in the Arch repository. Unlike Ubuntu, it'll have they'll take a while. It'll be like a testing phase before they actually push it to the main repository. So you can go to unauthorized repositories and actually install things too. But you know, it's kind of like that. You know, they don't support it, so to speak. You know, yet. Well, Arch kind of opens it up, and you have to kind of support it if something breaks.
You use it on a laptop?
That makes sense.
Use it on a laptop or desktop?
A laptop. Yeah.
You're not running into any network Wi-Fi driver issues?
Well, one thing with Linux, certain drivers don't work, or they're not ported over to Linux. So, like for instance, you have to kind of do a little research when you're buying like Wi-Fi adapters. Like I bought my laptop in 2015. It didn't have 5G on it, or 5 gigahertz connection. So I had to actually buy a
PC, you're talking-
USB 5 gigabytes connection, and you have to do research on, when you're buying Wi-Fi cords to make sure they have the drivers out there for it.
use a Linksys.
And sometimes go ahead.
Use a Linksys.
No, I have a TP-Link.
Oh,
That
man.
was one of the ones I could get to work. I had a Linksys already that I bought for some other reason. I think one of my son's older laptop, I had to get him a Linksys in it, and then that laptop died or whatever. And I got him another one with 5G on it, so he didn't need it anymore. So I tried that one, and there were no drivers for it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, they do have support. I mean, it slowly comes out, but they're one good thing about Linux, though, they're not getting rid of older driver support, unlike Microsoft. Microsoft is slowly not supporting certain drivers for different things.
Yeah, 32-bit versus 64-bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let me see if I can get it coming up. No, I don't see anybody coming up. So it's 3 o'clock now, our time.
Good stuff, Mike. Very, very comprehensive stuff today, man. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you to Keep It Techie for coming up, man, and helping us out.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, definitely make sure you subscribe to Keep It Techie's channel. Drop your link in the chat so that people can follow you. I'm sad that we didn't get a chance to have Wilsonian chime in, but I know he's over in Africa on the continent right now. He's a bit of time ahead, so we'll let him catch up another time. Thank you all for joining us, and please hit the like button if you've not already done so. Share the video if possible. Hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust community. Those are posted on the community tab. Doc in the description beneath the video for you to follow along with. If you are looking to get into IT for the first time, we do offer mentorship in that area. If you want some IT mentorship and getting into IT, there will be a comment section after the live stream is over. Make sure you leave your message in the comment section and one of us will get back to you. If you are trying to get into IT, if you're trying to transition from one IT role to another, we do offer IT coaching. If you have a resume and a cover letter that you want us to look at, one of us can look at it and give you some advice in that area. If you want some advice in wages and salary, what you should be getting paid and whether or not you're being underpaid, we can offer assistance in that area as well. All right, enjoy the rest of your afternoon, people.
Straight up and down, yeah.
Hello.
Come on, yeah. Recording? I hope so. Hey yo, arts and entertainment is the acronym for these two amazing American Africans. This is adverb aerobics like we at the gym. Alternating on these verses, I go after him. Yeah.
Ghetto, earn everything far from easily. Equal to ace, so we split the pie up evenly. I stay fly like Amelia Earhart. Eclipse any MC within an earshot.
Hey yo, I got an alter ego named Ace Avenger. His agenda's to annihilate pretenders. And trust he know how to adapt. He's able to adjust his esophagus and swallow a track.
Yo, my efficiency is effortless. I'm ego tripping, evil spitting. Check the effectiveness. Edo's terror was 86, no escape. I'm the epitome of everything. Eject your
Look what
tape.
they do is what we do. You know what it is and you know what I mean. And you can if you want to be a part of my team. See, we got what you want, what you needed was this. If you still want to know what the difference is, look what they do is what we do. Look what they do is what we do. Look what they do is what we do. Look what they do is what we do.
It was Ace, not Ashton, yeah, that's who puncture. I'm about to stick it to you like acupuncture. Awesome audio, this is me at a glance. Sounds arrogant, but y'all never had a chance. I'm so adamant, let this black man advance. Adios, au revoir, the Spanish France.
I stomp rappers with an elephant's foot. Elevate, educate the way the elements should. I eliminate embarrassments eloquently. Elusive, Ivy League, you elves is elementary.
I got the answers, you ain't gotta ask who got them. I track like some apple bottoms, grab a throttle, accelerate, grab the bottle, cause the average can't bag a model. Now alleviate your anger with some alcohol. Go back to boosting academics out the mall. Get apprehended one August afternoon. Do 10 months and come back after June.
Yeah, the A&E emblem is embedded. Establish a new economy, never indebted. Edo's the MC, Rich is the engineer. Endless endeavors that can end your career.
Look what they do, this what we do. You know what it is and you know what I mean. And you can if you want to be a part of my team. See, we got what you want, what you needed was this. If you still want to know what the difference is, look what they do, this what we do. Look what they do, this what we do. Look what they do, this what we do. Look what they do, this what we do.
Hey yo, I used to drive an Audi in the Astro van. Now I want to Aston Martin, that's the plan. Acuras and Ultimas are average cars. I want A-Rap money like Abdul-Jabbar.
Yo, my embargo can get you on licked like an envelope. Married to the game, then elope. You eager for my involvement? Kill you rappers while Ace is the
You sound
involvement.
asinine, bragging about the ass you got. Back up, give me some space like an astronaut. And assume my associate's an accurate shot. Aims at the oblongata in the back of the knot.
Yo,
Wow.
it's evident your events are promotional and your employees is way too emotional. You don't want to engage us in stages, it's dangerous. Then you rappers become endangered. I'm eco-friendly, Ace is addicted to detail. Smoke you like emphysema, send it in an email. What I embody, you all should embrace. A&E, E&A, Edo, and
You
Ace.
know what it is and you know what I mean. And you can if you want to be a part of my team. See, we got what you want, what you needed was this. If you still want to know what the difference is, look what they do, this what we do. Look what they do, this what we do. Look what they do, this what we do. Look what they do, this what we do.
Yeah. You are now tuned into A&E, Ace and Ed. Hey, hey, hey. The dynamic duo, arts and entertainment. Don't change the channel. Don't touch that dial.